Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining Civil Survival Project on this first day of National Expungement Week. We are so excited and thrilled to have with us some very special guests from all over the country. For those that don't know, Civil Survival Project is an organization here in Washington State led by and for people who have lived through the criminal legal system. And our work is focused on organizing, leadership development, legislative advocacy, and legal services to help individuals overcome barriers to reentry and find a real second chance. My name is Tarra Simmons, and I will be the moderator today in place for my dear colleague, Sarai Cook, who couldn't be here, but she hopefully will be back this week. As you know, we will be having webinars every night from 6 to 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time in honor of National Expungement Week. But for the first guest, we're going to have a series of guests tonight. We're going to have Torie Marshall, who is the founder of National Expungement Week, and talk more about her vision and how that came into being. We're also going to have Zaki Smith from New York, who is leading a campaign there in New York called End Perpetual Punishment, which is seeking to remove several millions of records for individuals to have a second chance in New York. And then we're going to be joined by our own Washington State Representative, Drew Hanson, who has been a champion for these issues here in Washington, and talk more about his work on the New Hope Act and the Clean Slate Act. And last but not least, we will hear from Meilani, who is with Code for America, which is a national partner in the national coalition helping several states get automatic record vacating. Also, we invite you to ask questions, and so if you wouldn't mind dropping it in the Q&A box here, we will have an opportunity to answer questions from our esteemed speakers at the end of the program. I also just want to say thank you to our friends from the East Coast, Torie and Zaki. I know it's late out there and you're joining us, and really, really want to appreciate, I think it's 9 p.m. over there, and really honor and appreciate your time, especially given how late it is. So first, I want to open it up and introduce you to Torie Marshall. In spring of 2018, Torie Marshall was with We Baked, an organization, and approached Adam Vine from Cage Free Repair with an idea of developing an awareness campaign around providing expungement relief and wraparound services to communities affected by the war on drugs. National Expungement Week is a collective of individuals and organizations that care for the well-being of our communities, specifically people affected by the war on drugs and adversely impacted by the disproportionate enforcement of the justice system. Torie's vision is to advocate for automated expungement of all records, the de-escalation of police enforcement, and investment in marginalized communities. So thank you so much for Torie for joining us this evening, and I'll let you take it away. Thank you.
Great rising, grand rising. Thank you. You did everything. I don't.
No.
That was amazing. I guess if I had to tell it in a way, if people would ask, why did she do it? It would be, I was arrested again, and I was a consultant for Cage Free Cannabis Consulting. And Adam called in to check on me, and he's like, do you want to get back to work? Like, how are you feeling? I'm like, I'm feeling like, again, I don't know how long this process is going to take, man. Like, one, I'm from Washington, D.C. We're not even a state. So we don't even have expungement. So the fact that I agreed to call this National Expungement Week is beyond me. We only have sealing right now. So, it was so much that I was trying to tackle when he heard what I wanted to do. And he was like, well, listen, like, we already have clinics here in California. We have clinics everywhere. He was like, but you're right, to bring it to like a national movement just for awareness, we need to do that. And 2018, it was in October. We only had 11 cities. Last year, we ended up being like in 40 cities, and it was just crazy. And then this year, COVID hit, and we were like, how can we do this in a responsible way? So we know that, we're 2 years in with, Code for America, being our national partners with their brigade network. And shout out to you, Melania, you guys. You know, a National Day of Civic Hacking. You guys just had that. And they also work with us and partner with us for voters voters registration awareness day, which is the third Tuesday of every September. Like every time September hits, two things happen. You got Code for America. You have National Expungement Week. You have Black Voter Registration Awareness Day, which was last Friday, and then tomorrow, National Voter Registration Awareness Day. So all these things happen in September. They're supposed to be really impactful, and the way that we make them impactful is by doing, grassroots outreach. We knock on doors. Clearly, we're doing a lot of social media now, something that I've never been used to doing. I'm very analog, so this is all new to me. So we're learning how to do these webinars and talk without being on mute and things of that nature. So that's what we're doing. We're excited. Thank you guys for 2 years in. You guys are 2 years in with us, Seattle, Washington. Yes. Thank you. I'm done. Thank you guys. Shout out to you in Perpetual Punishment. I want to hear more about that. We have clinics in New York. I mean, hey, let's link, let's talk. If you don't know, we are year round. We're looking to change the name. We are a year-round project. I tell people that because 2018, my first returning citizen, that's what we fought for the name here in DC. That's what we use. We don't want to be called felons. We don't want to be called ex-convicts. We fought, we community lobbied. We created wording and legislation to be called a returning citizen. I tell people that that word can be used any and everywhere. We are talking about overall amnesty and what that looks like. If we are, the land of the free and the home of the brave, like we need to act like it when we use this word returning citizen. So again, that's what we do here in National Expungement Week, where we're full on healing process. How do we heal our marginalized communities that have been impacted and affected by the war on drugs? And here I am.
Thank you so much, Torie. And I hope that we will hear more from you in a little bit and have some questions and answers. And so grateful again for you joining us and for your vision. And yes, Civil Survival, this is our second year celebrating National Expungement Week in coalition with the national partners. Last year, we held an event at the Pierce County Courthouse, and it was called Legal Financial Obligation Reconsideration Day. And we helped about 750 people find relief from their court fines and fees, their legal financial obligations, which is the first step in Washington state towards record clearance. And so we helped about 750 people last year, cleared millions of dollars in court fines and fees on National Expungement Week, and just so grateful. There are about 48,000 barriers, collateral consequences for our community, from housing and employment, occupational licensing, educational opportunities, public housing, private housing, all kinds of things, volunteering in our children's school, traveling to other countries. And that's why it's so important that there are so many partners across the nation taking on this, because the state really has majority control. Most of us have survived the criminal legal system under state control, not federal. And so I am just so grateful that Zaki Smith is here, who this is his expertise, running a strong campaign in New York called End Perpetual Punishment. And I am so grateful, Zaki. Go ahead and tell us more about your work and what you're doing in New York.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. So in perpetual punishment is directly aimed at the alienating terminology, collateral consequences, right? Because the consequences are not collateral at all. It's just another language to disenfranchise and to move people away from. I never heard the terminology before ever in my life. It's never been mentioned in any of my court documents. An attorney has never mentioned it to me. I've never heard it come out of the mouth of a judge or a prosecutor or anything of that nature. So I figured I'd just use what it actually is, and that is perpetual punishment, right? Because it is a life sentence. Every sentence is a life sentence. And so my work is mainly focused on putting an end to that silent life sentence. So working with Next 100, the startup think tank, as a policy entrepreneur. I had never thought I would be in a space of writing policy or thinking about policy ever in my life. I am, formally justice involved, and, anything political was the last thing that I was connected to, because anything political that I saw just did not represent me, and it disenfranchised me. And so I stayed as far away from it as it possible, because I thought that it was a way of also taking back my power. It was like, you disenfranchise me, I don't fool with you, right? Then realizing that as long as my voice is not in that space, that they will continue to have the power to disenfranchise me. But in any event, started this campaign with the Next 100, and figured I'm a big fan of Michelle Alexandra, and I said, hey, listen, let me just do let me just put the ugly picture of what this actually is, literally when I say picture, and started the Perpetual Punishment art campaign. And so I have this giant mural in Brooklyn of the man with the water fountain, the Jim Crow image of the two water fountains. One said colored and one says white. And so on the colored side, I put criminal record. And so I just did that about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. I just did another one in Brooklyn, where all of the white only, colored only signs, I just did a wall of just signs, and gave the context of collateral consequences or perpetual punishment and what it does in the community. And so going directly into impacted communities to hold these conversations, because what I've realized just in my small time, just being into, this whole political world and writing policy, that we are absolutely never at the table of any policy. Even when we talk about having panel discussions, like when we have panel discussions on criminal justice reform, we're having them in John Jay College, we're having them in NYU. Ain't nobody from the hood coming to NYU. They're not coming to John Jay. And those are the people who are directly impacted. So there was a study that 85% of New York State's prison population came from 7 neighborhoods in New York. That is East New York, Brownsville, Bed-Stuy, South and Central Jamaica, Queens, South Bronx, Harlem, and Lower East Side. So my thought was, I need to put this artwork pretty much in those communities and begin to hold a conversation, not just to put this art up and walk away. I think that would be very irresponsible, but more so, how do we have a conversation, not to just inform individuals about collateral consequences, right? And to get people thinking about it, but how do we empower them to say, how do you have the power to actually change this, because your local officials have the power to write legislation to shift this, right? And many of our communities don't know this. They don't know this, right? And so local officials are just really, a lot of them are getting easy passes by not even engaging us or coming to us because we're not a voting block. So my intent is, how do we create a voting block and make justice involved individuals aware that you actually can vote? They're justice involved folks who don't even believe. We're working currently right now on a bill with one of our senators, Senator Myrie, super dope, along with Clean Slate, for automatic expungement. And we're looking at all crimes. We're not looking at just non-violent. I think it's also a perfect opportunity to begin to have a conversation about violence in this country, because that's what they seem to continue to use as sort of this fear-mongering tool to roll back legislation. But it's like, no, how do we go actually at that and have a real conversation about what violence is in this community, and hold them accountable also to more of a restorative system than this punitive. So I'll stop there.
So dope.
You are amazing, and I am
Thank you.
glad that you are in this world doing this work, and I just know it's going to lead to significant change everywhere. So thank you again for joining us tonight, and hopefully we have some questions for you here at the end as well. Next, it is my incredible honor to introduce my state representative, Representative Drew Hanson of the 23rd Legislative District. I met Representative Hanson several years ago, and he really, didn't work in criminal justice space, but he always had a passion for civil rights. And in fact, he's an author and wrote a book about Martin Luther King, several years ago, and has always had a heart for service. Super, brilliant. Went to, I think, Yale Law School, Harvard, and didn't have to care about civil rights, right? And in his day job, he's a incredible litigator, and always uses those skills to kind of pursue justice, whether that's clean air and water or bail reform, and has this expertise. And in his other hat as a legislator, I met him and I told him about the issues around collateral consequences. And he was also a very strong supporter of me when I was fighting for my right to become an attorney, and I was initially denied because of my past. And so it came alongside, and we've been partnering on this work here for a few years, and just couldn't be more grateful for a servant leader as we have in Representative Drew Hanson. And so I would love for him to talk about Washington State and what we have done with the New Hope Act and Clean Slate, and where you think we're going to go from here. So thank you.
Thank you, Tarra. That's an incredibly gracious introduction, and right back at you. So it's been fabulous to work with Tarra and Civil Survival on this. So let me do, all right, I'm going to clock myself because I want to be respectful of everyone's time, particularly our East Coast colleagues here, because 9 p.m. is my bedtime, and you might be, a little bit later than I am. So I know the suffering that we're wreaking upon you here. Thank you for joining us. So look, let me tell you a little bit about the New Hope Act. I'm going to tell you about why the New Hope Act went to the governor's desk, okay? Then we're going to tell you about the Clean Slate initiative in Washington and why it went to the governor's desk and we got some real problems. And then we can talk about where we go from here. So let's do the New Hope Act first. So the New Hope Act rewrote a whole bunch of the vacation statutes in Washington State. Before this bill in 2019, you could vacate an unlimited number of felonies if you met the criteria, but you could vacate one misdemeanor ever in your life. One. I mean, this was an unintended consequence, I am told, of a 20-year-old sentencing reform bill. People have been trying to fix it for 20 years. No bill to fix that ever made it to the floor. So that's the first thing we did, is we made it possible. We got rid of this total wicked, deeply unjust situation where you can only vacate one misdemeanor in Washington State ever. Second thing we did is we took some of the most commonly charged violent felonies, and I want to credit my colleague Mr. Smith's remark that this was a pain point for some of our colleagues that are like, ooh, we can't vacate violent felonies. All right, it's all well and good to talk about driving with a license suspended to the second degree, but we have a lot of people walking around with low-level assault and robbery convictions who are in the real world not a danger to anyone ever, okay? And there are a lot of them, right? I mean, there are 100,000 of these convictions in Washington State since 1990, okay? So that's a lot of people. So we took the most commonly charged assault and robbery offenses and made those for the first time eligible for vacation. No one ever had tried to do that, as far as we know, for the last 20 years. And by a series of miracles, we got to the governor's desk. So here are kind of the three things that made that work. Number one, as Tarra rightly says, Tarra asked me to come along and be a part of this effort, and Tarra and Civil Survival did some fabulous organizing around it. We had great testimony at the hearings. I mean, just riveting stuff, right? As you all who've been in expungement know just how powerful these stories are about, perpetual punishment is exactly the right way. The grief and the pain that people articulate at these hearings, because they're what? What more do you want? Right? I've turned my life around, and now this is going to be with me forever. It was amazing, right? So super duper powerful. And it created some advocates that we didn't even know about in the labor movement who became super important. And I'll tell you about that in just a second. So that was one. That was great, right? We had, Tarra did amazing work organizing, Civil Survival did amazing work getting people interested in the bill. But that was not enough. We had amazing hearings testimony in year one. Bill didn't go to the governor's desk. The difference was in year two, we had a Republican partner. Now, Washington State is a blue state. Democrats control the House, they control the Senate, and they control the governor's mansion. But let me just tell you, as you all know, there is discomfort around criminal legal system reform issues, even within the Democratic Party. I know that's not like breaking news, but there's also, boy, tell me about that. Like, there's also discomfort on the Republican side, and even in a government where Democrats control everything, everything is easier if it's bipartisan. By like a lot, right? You don't have to fight a bunch of amendments. You don't have to fight about floor time. You get help in a chamber like the state Senate, where they do about, a tenth of as many bills as they do in the state House. And the Republicans, God bless them, they love to be involved in the policy process, right? Because if they're in the minority, they don't get to do that all that frequently. So we had a representative he is a Seattle Police Department detective. His name is Morgan Irwin, and honestly, may God bless this man forever. He did not need to step up and walk with us, but he did, and he walked with us every step of the way, and he went to his leadership and told them this was good. He did it with he personally lobbied his committee members. I mean, he was amazing. And so he was really like the thing that this bill would not be law if Morgan Irwin did not walk with us on it. And so I'm just I am really grateful, because he didn't need to do that, right? And you don't always see that kind of partnership ever kind of on anything. So that was the second thing that made it work. And the third thing that made it work is we were willing to keep it real low key. When Tarra and I started working on this, we thought we were going to need like a mass email effort. Everyone's hustling their legislators, just bring down the fire, bring down the artillery, just tell people they got to do it, they got to do it. Once we got bipartisan buy-in, we didn't need to do that anymore. So then it became just okay, nothing to see here. This is not the bill you're looking for. Go about your business. No one pay attention to the fact that people have been trying to do this for 20 years and no one's done it. So just nothing. So we did great at keeping it real low key. And that gets to one of the key behind the scenes things. Was one of our friends from the labor movement, from the iron workers, went and talked to my leadership just kind of randomly. She was in there and something else. And because Tarra and civil survivors work had gotten to her and told her about, sensitized this bill within the labor community, she raised this bill with our leadership at a very key time, and helped kind of turn the hearts of people to think maybe we do have to do this. Because in the Democratic Party too, we got a lot of people who are stuck in these 1980s political mentality. We're tough on crime. And you can say all you want. This is the opposite of tough on crime. We're helping people, this is bad policy when you don't allow people to move forward with their lives. And they get all wound up around this, is all they can see in their heads is some tough on crime, soft on crime dichotomy that this just doesn't fit real well with, or if it does, it fits in the, my colleague says. So look, that's what made it work for New Hope. That was great. I'm offering those as lessons learned. Okay, I'm 6 minutes. That's longer than I wanted to talk. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me give you the real quick version on Clean Slate. So you are familiar with Clean Slate in general, which is we're going to bulk clear or bulk expunge records. In some states, like Utah, this is now the law. We tried this in Washington and ran into some fairly significant obstacles. We had, God bless him, Brother Irwin walking with us again, which is why we actually got a bill passed. He's, once more, he just did miraculous work within his own party. So the problems were not political or about throughput. The problems were substantive. And there were basically two. One was related to the data. Washington State does not have a unified court system, and so the data related to past convictions is very clunky. It gets into a general data system literally by individual courts sending PDFs up to the administrative office of the courts, and they have people enter them. Well, things get wrong, right? Things don't always get tracked right. And it doesn't even capture all of the convictions from all the systems. So basically, few people in the judicial system have a lot of confidence that you can run the sort of report and get things cleared in bulk that other states have been able to do. That proved to be a big problem. The second problem relates to the process and the court system itself. So in Washington, we have a very strong open courts doctrine that says that everything has to be done. The public has a presumption of access. Everything has to be done in open court. That's all well and good, but it creates some problems where you're trying to do something like the clean slate process, right? Because when you vacate a conviction, you're changing the disposition of that individual record in the judicial system from guilty to not guilty. At least in Washington, that's how it works. I don't know how it works anywhere else. So this thing you can do in other states where you just change the signal from like off to on, right? From like conviction to no conviction, back office in bulk by like press and switch. You can't do that in Washington. That is not an option available to us. So we were going down the road of saying, well, okay, so here's, well, and let me just say that kind of the place where we're at, and this gets to what goes next. And gosh, I am sorry, I'm going to be less than 10 minutes, I promise. So what we're looking at now is we say, okay, look, we get the data's janky, okay, but the data can't be like, the data is not non-existent, and it's used for all sorts of purposes by people within the criminal justice system already, criminal legal system already. Like, for example, when the cops pull someone over and they run your criminal history, they're pulling that from somewhere. Like, they seem to think that's kind of reliable. Can't we just use that? And so, and even if that's not perfect, can't we just like hack together something, right? Can't we say, like, let's say it's not enough for us to clear all convictions that are eligible right now. Let's just start with something. Let's say you have a driver with license suspended in the second-degree charge or conviction from 10 years ago, and you have no conviction since then. And you have no fingerprinted arrests since then, all of which are tracked in the state patrol system. Can we just use those to start with, just to kind of get our hands around this process and see if it'll work? So that's kind of the road that we're working on right now. That doesn't get you through the court system problem, because I mean, like we got this 10-page report from the courts about 2 months ago that's like, well, this is just not doable in Washington State, and here is why. And like, I'm not totally sure that they're right, but it's not, they don't raise frivolous objections, right? And I think there's probably a way. I mean, look, as Tara mentioned, I'm a trial lawyer, right? Like, you can do stuff that's in open court that's not on the record. Like, the judge doesn't have to gavel you in every time and say, hear ye, hear ye. All the time, stuff is decided on the papers. So can't you just create a process like this where the court on its own motion sets something in an individual case for a hearing, but it's an administrative hearing that never happens? Now, of course, the judge is like, bleh, but like, you know, it's not clear to me that that's not doable. So long story short, there are uniquenesses in Washington related to its data and its court system and court doctrines that are going to make this real tough. We are trying to figure out a way to at least test something that's going to that will work along the lines of what I've just articulated. But it's going to get really hard it's going to get really hard next year. In fact, it's not going to happen. Well, not going to happen. It's going to be very difficult to do next year because of our budget crunch. And I'm sure every other state's in the same way. We have a $1.5 billion budget shortfall in a $50-ish billion biannual budget. That's not nothing. And so the likelihood that we'll be able to get a couple $1 million for something like this is real low. I know this because we were going through a budget exercise earlier today that involved looking at cuts. And so, you know, look, on the other hand, that buys us a little time to look at what other states are doing, to learn from that, to think about creative solutions, and to try to figure out a way forward. But, you know, it's hard. It's a super hard problem to solve. And I think, you know, like, it's just, it's awesome that we have this National Clean Slate campaign, but it's just, you know, it's a big lesson. And just because it worked in Utah doesn't mean it's going to work anywhere else. And you know, there's, anyway, so I'll stop. Like, I'm sorry, I did, shoot, 12 minutes. That was longer than I wanted to do. And I get so wound up in this stuff, and you can probably tell I was probably more in the weeds than you wanted. But thank you for listening to me, and thank you for everyone who's done so much to get energy around this and make people realize how super duper important it is. So God bless you all for all your work.
Thank you so much, Representative Hanson. And I know that with partners like you encouraging us, we are not going to give up. We're going to keep trying. It might not happen as soon as we want, but we're going to keep trying to advance these issues and make sure everybody, you know, gets the right to a second chance, no matter how we have to get there. So thank you for being one of our strongest partners and champions and advocates. We appreciate you so much. Next, I want to introduce Meilani Santion. Did I say it right? I hope so. Okay. Yay, good. Okay, Meilani is the program director on the criminal justice team at Code for America. In her role, she leads partnerships for ClientComm and establishes relationships with criminal justice agencies across the country. Meilani previously worked in business development in the advertising technology space, most recently at AppLovin. She also spent several years working in social impact, including teaching positions with Upward Bound and Houston Area Women's Center. She is a graduate from Rice University and is an active member of the Latino Community Foundation Giving Circle Network. But what I really appreciated about Meilani is that she was a strong partner of ours in our Washington State Clean Slate effort and just gives her whole self to this work all across the country. So we are so happy and thankful that you are here tonight and going to share with us more about the Clean Slate Initiative and what's going on around the nation and about Code for America, which is a really good partner for governments that want to advance social issues such as this using technology. So thank you so much, Meilani, for joining us.
Thank you, Tara. And this is why I hate bios on websites. That's my whole Code for America bio. So as Tara mentioned, my name is Meilani Santillan. I work at Code for America, and we are a tech nonprofit that's based out of San Francisco, and we work with government to improve service delivery. And what that means in the criminal legal system is that we think about how we can use human-centered design and technology to help government implement policies that decriminalize, decarcerate, and remove barriers for folks to employment, housing, and education. And the way that we think about that is how do you really center the person impacted by the system to help come up with those solutions. So our Clear My Record initiative that Tara mentioned really falls for us in that last category around how do we remove barriers, where our mission is to advance and implement automatic record clearance policies, because our big vision is we want to clear all eligible criminal convictions in the United States. And to do that, as Tara is mentioning, we work with local advocates and state agencies early and during the planning process so we can write actually what the implementation of these policies is in the beginning. And to understand kind of how we got involved in policy as a tech nonprofit, I think it's really important to tell a little story about implementation, which is how we came to the work. So in 2016, we were in California. We had just passed marijuana legalization. And part of that policy included a pathway for expungement for people who had some marijuana convictions, but no one exactly knew how that was actually going to be implemented. So we created a tool that allowed people to get connected with attorneys and help them get through the individual process. In California, that's a county by county based process. So I live in the Bay Area. There are 6 different counties here. If you had a conviction in multiple counties, you'd have to go to each of those individual courts, which takes a lot of time, money, resources. Torie can tell you about how difficult that is. Tara can tell you about how difficult that is and why we have the expungement clinics that we do now to help people get through that process. So what we actually saw, though, when we looked at the numbers, is that only 3% of the people who were eligible for that marijuana relief actually got the relief because of all these barriers in the process. And as a technology company, as a company that thinks about scale and how government can deliver services, we were like, that can't be the best answer that we can all come up with. So fast forward to 2018, we were looking for ways we could expand that relief. And we started asking this question of like, why is the burden on the individual at all? The government, the courts, law enforcement, they have all the data they need to identify who's actually eligible. And the policy had given them the power to actually apply that relief. So how do we bring those two things together? At the same time, here in San Francisco, our district attorney, George Gascon, was proactively providing, said he was going to proactively provide that conviction relief to individuals. And it kind of was a perfect moment for us to say, how are you going to do that? How can we use technology to help you out? And so we joined with him in a pilot, as well as 4 other district attorneys across our state, to think about how we can use technology to leverage and expedite that relief. And the process in California is one of the many ways you could do expungement or record clearance at large. What was happening here is that our criminal repository, which we call our California Department of Justice, you all probably in Washington call it the state police, would send data to district attorneys. District attorneys then would go through it, determine who is eligible under the policy, and send that information to the courts. The way they were going to do that was very manual. So it was going to be one by one looking at records. And what we ended up doing was building technology that could use an algorithm to take that policy analysis, that eligibility analysis, and apply it on that entire data set from the criminal repository. And as we were doing that, we realized that as we were building that technology and implementing it in those 5 different counties, we realized like we had the roots here that we could create technology that would do that for every district attorney in the state. And at the same time in California, there was a new law being passed that mandated that every county had to actually provide that relief. So it was this beautiful marriage of multiple opportunities moment where we both created the technology and then gave it to every district attorney who wanted it so they could use our algorithm, take the data from the criminal repository, apply that, send off those records to the courts, and complete the full process without an individual having to do anything. And so we're wrapping that work up now. For a moment of hope, I think, from it is that now over half of the counties in California have used our tool. That's 66% of the people who are eligible in the state, which is about 113,000 people will gain conviction relief through that technology. And what we really learned from that period is that like implementation is all in the weeds, it's all in the agencies and how they're doing their roles. And we learned a lot of the difficulties of data and policy and siloed information through actually doing that implementation. So now we're taking those lessons and talking to other states with a coalition of partners through the Clean Slate initiative on how can we take these lessons we've learned from implementation, see what other people and other folks around the country are doing, like Pennsylvania with their Clean Slate Act, which passed in 2018. Representative Hanson already mentioned Utah, which passed their law in 2019. How can you leverage the lessons from these different policies, from these different processes, and apply them more widely? And so when we're talking about all the issues that we have with automatic record clearance, like first, we've showed in California and other states are showing that like it's possible to do. There is because everyone who's been involved in the criminal legal system knows 30-some thousand odd systems based on the counties and the states themselves. But if we think about taking the process and the steps we use to identify the data, identify where it needs to be updated, then we can actually take those lessons and spread them across the nation. So we're really excited to continue to work with states that are doing that and really get into the nitty-gritty of that planning. It's different than other policy initiatives that people have worked on because it's so much involved in like the technology and the data piece, but it is things that we can kind of bring all of our different and unique skill sets together to work through and actually get successful implementation and real impact for people.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Meilani. The work that you're doing is so important and really, really impressive. And our community across the nation, the formerly incarcerated, directly impacted community, couldn't be more grateful for what you're doing for us. So thank you so much for being here and for all that you're doing across this country. It means the world to us and our children, really. Thank you. So now we are going to open it up for questions and answers. And we do have some questions. If you all didn't notice, my actual computer needed to reboot right in the middle of the webinar. Isn't that wonderful timing? And so it looks like I might have lost my questions that were popping up in the chat here. And so Corey is on the line with us and he will be able to go ahead and pose some of those if you don't mind, Corey. Thank you so much.
Sure. Looks like the first question we have is for Torie. How does it feel to be part of a movement that has helped tens of thousands of people? I think that goes to everybody as well.
It feels like a step towards reparative justice. If that makes any sense. When I talk about, you know, what N.E.W. really represents, it represents this obtainable feeling. It's not a feeling, it's a fact. It's obtainable, it's reachable, it's grabbable. What is generational wealth to people that have been, you know, impacted and affected, you know, going on next year to be legally 50 years, right, with Nixon and the war on drugs, right? However, we know it's been longer than that. What does this really look like to heal? And we're doing it. We're leading. We're making it. We're leading by example. We're trying to continue to do it. And just to add one more thing to Zaki, I tell people all the time, because sometimes people think that, you know, our organization is cannabis related. And it'd be like, you know, what do you, is this cannabis only? And I tell people all the time, one, I don't have a cannabis conviction. That's not why I started this. And two, my offense, I don't have a nonviolent offense. I have a violent offense. So there's so many intricate pieces and ways, you know, just to understand why National Expungement Week was created and what the healing process really, really looks like. It's about reducing recidivism and creating this, you know, this thing that some has never had called generational wealth. And it looks like financial literacy programs. That's how we heal people. It looked like food banks. That's how we heal people. It looked like clothing banks. That's how we heal people. It looks like resume building workshops, workshop readiness programs. We have computer literacy programs. Like I said, in LA right now, shout out to the Social Impact Center, 6 tons of food they had for National Week of Expungement, for our week of action. We have people doing dining dialogues where they talk about PTSD and generational PTSD and what that really looks like. So when people ask me, what does it feel like to be a part of this? It feels like a healing movement. It feels like allowing someone to really have a second chance and really mean it. It means a full-on clean slate. It means full-on amnesty. It means this should never be a part of who I was again, because I'm out here. I'm not back in there. And that's why we created this.
Wonderful, thank you. Next question. How did you come up with the name Returning Citizens? And can you talk more about what amnesty means?
Okay, so yes, I'm from Washington, D.C., born in the 80s, Reaganomics. If you're not familiar with Reaganomics, it's like when it really came in and hit certain communities and impacted us and affected us really hard. We were hit in many ways. We were hit by, you know, overdoses. We were hit by, you know, just having people making a way to create a way by, you know, being the pookie or being the drug dealer or being the hustler to feed their family. They were arrested and taken away. So then their family had to find a way, you know, to strive and to just make a way. And what did that overall process look like coming from Reaganomics and trying to heal? It looked like when my brother got out, it looked like when his friends got out, no matter what they filled out on their application, people were still calling them a convict and a felon. And it was like they could not see past that word. So there was a group of guys that came out, Ronald Moten and Peaceaholics and Ceasefire. They were like, and they're still to this day, and they're like, oh, like, I mean, like, and not like, oh, like that if they're watching, not like that, like they're older than me. Like, they're like, let's just say they're like, you know, seasoned, 50 and up, they seasoned men, you know, shout out to the Black men that are healing their communities. They came up with this notion of, you know, we don't want to be called criminals, or we don't want to be called ex-felons, or we don't want to be called ex-convicts. And so I tell you, these men, they got together and they was like, this is community lobbying. Why? Because we're not a state. So, you know, we can't take it, like, where do we take this to? We have to take this, you know, like you said, vote locally because you can hold them accountable. What does that look like when you vote locally? Like, you actually see, you know, some of your council members, some of your at-large, you know, some of your delegates, you see them in your community. You know what I'm saying? You have the opportunity right there to just really tap in and see if they're really for or against what it looks like to reinvest and just build and just create and just sustainability. Like, you can hold them accountable. So they went and they started fighting for this word, and they was like, listen, we won. We are now returning citizens. And when I first started saying this in 2018, people, they weren't sure what it meant. And they were like, well, is this offensive? And I was like, no way is this offensive. And, you know, it speaks just so many levels beyond of what it means, because again, my background and my lineage. Like I have family and friends that have been deported back to Jamaica. They got their education here. They have family here. They should be returning citizens here. And if there's a process that they need to follow, we want to walk that process out with them. And when we walk it out with them and we sign that paperwork with them and we get these letters and do our due diligence to get it right, what is the other excuse? There should be no more excuses. It's about no more excuses. This word is about no more excuses. So yes, that is where returning citizens came from.
Thank you. Zaki, what got you started looking into perpetual punishment?
When I was released from prison in 2004, actually before I was released, I knew that I wasn't going back to the penitentiary again. And I knew that I was going to work with young people. And I knew that I needed to do whatever the work that I needed to do to identify what was my issues and what had me keep coming back and forth. And I did all of that work, and it landed like, whoa, I was impacted from very young, right? And so said, hey, you know, imagine me being that person connecting with a lot of the young people who are experiencing and going through a lot of the things that I have gone through as a young person. So I said, I'm coming out in the street and I'm gonna work with young people. And I did that, hit the ground running, and doing it for the past pretty much 15 years, 5 years into working in a high school in Newark, New Jersey. I was subsequently fingerprinted, just more so around being in compliance with contracts and so forth and so on. My organization knew what my criminal history was. It wasn't no big secret. Actually, it was some sort of value to the work that I was doing because of the population of young people that I was working with. Although the population, I was in the largest high school in New Jersey, and 85%, if not 95% of the population was South and Central American, right? And English was not their first language. And so here it is, this cat from the hood coming and making an impact in a school like this. But in any event, I was fingerprinted, and the state of New Jersey came back and said, hey, you know, you can't work in the school system. Although they did not pay me, they did not hire me. I was paid by the nonprofit organization. I did not work for the Board of Education. But because my fingerprints came back, they said, hey, you can't work in the school. I thought, okay, well, you know, at least you would give me some type of opportunity to demonstrate who I've been. Your superintendent just gave me $250,000 to mimic the same program in 5 other schools in the state. And no, that didn't come. That didn't happen. It was, here's your record, and you want to refute whether any of the charges is wrong, or that was the only option. There was no appeal or nothing. And so it just sent me down this rabbit hole. And for the first time in my life, I questioned it. That wasn't, you know, I've been going back and forth to prison from young and well in my adulthood, but for the first time, I actually questioned it and said, hey, wait a minute. I wasn't sentenced to this. I don't recall a judge saying, hey, take this 2 years, and after the 2 years, for the rest of you. That never happened. So why is this? And so I came across the case of Padilla versus Kentucky, where, hey, wait a minute, ain't that ineffective assistance of counsel here? Wasn't my attorney supposed to let me know all of the punishments related to the crime that I pled guilty to? And I was like, wait a minute, I may have an appeal grounds here. And I saw that case, and then I seen the Supreme Court. They said, yeah, you know, Padilla, you won, you know, because immigration is federal and that's another collateral consequence or whatever. But the courts ain't got to tell y'all about collateral consequences. And I said, what? What do you mean? You don't have to tell me. Yeah, you have to tell me. But I understood why they don't want to tell me, or they don't have to tell me, because if I knew that I was getting a life sentence at the rate that convictions are happening through plea deals, many people would go to trial, and states don't have the funds to send everybody to trial. Why tell them about you getting a life sentence versus you taking this 2 years rather than 10, and have you concentrating on not doing 10 years versus an actual life sentence? So it sent me down that rabbit hole, and that's how I got started.
Thank you. I see that we have some kind of legal-based questions in the chat. If we're not able to get to those, some of those would be great questions for our LFO day tomorrow, or our LFO event. Here's one for Drew. Drew, do you think one day Clean Slate can pass?
I mean, maybe. I have not yet given up hope, but these problems are real, right? I mean, we had a lot of smart people banging their heads against them, and it's not totally clear that they're solvable. So, you know, I've committed to keep working. I've spent a bunch of time in the interim working on it, but you know, I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. I mean, I think this is going to be a real hard one. It's not impossible. And, you know, hey, Corey, there's a bunch of questions in the general chat for me that I can answer. And this time, I promise I will do it in under a minute. Do you mind if I take those?
Sure.
Okay, boom. From Rachel, what can we do as Seattle citizens to help? God bless you. There's probably a bunch of stuff you can do locally, at least for the Clean Slate Act at the legislative level. Not much. It's like problems that I and others have to solve sort of technically and figure out. Number two, from Sarah, what does it take to get a unified court system? Unfortunately, I'm told it takes a constitutional amendment. So like that is not going to be something we're going to be able to bite off and solve. That was actually what the prosecutors told us. It was like, to do Clean Slate in Washington, first you need a constitutional amendment. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. There may be ways we can do this without unifying the court system, but alas, I think that's what we need now. From Kathy, do you have a lot of buy-in where it's needed to work the data? Yes. You know, I think the interesting conversations we're working on now is accepting the jankiness of the data, right? Accepting the messy nature of the data. What can we do within these constraints? And people are willing to have these conversations. And from V. Tallarico, which might be my old friend Valerie, is it Republicans or Democrats actually helping people who need to return to our community? And the answer is, in our state, both. I mean, it really has been both Republicans and Democrats, because the New Hope Act passed with unanimous bipartisan support. Okay, shoot, that was 1 minute and 8 seconds, but pretty close. So thank you for your patience. We knocked out all the ones in the chat, so you can go back to the Q&A now. At least all the ones are for me.
All right, thank you. Here's the one. We'll open this up to anybody that wants to answer. What's being done to help older people returning home or looking to come home in 2 or 3 years from a 20-year bid? I think generally, what are we doing to help older people as they reenter?
So on our end, just from National Expungement, again, you know, we collaborate, we get on national calls with right now we're at about 45 organizers nationally, right? And so we go on the calls and we start to speak the way that, you know, Tarra spoke, which 48,000 barriers, right? What does that look like? And we want to create like a list sometimes. We want to prioritize sometimes what things looks like. So when people are being released, we want to talk about, you know, age as well. Because again, they can't stay at assisted living. You can't you can't live in an old folks home if you have a record. So what happens? You become homeless. You end up in a shelter. The halfway house kicks you out after you do your bid in the halfway house. So, you know, we encourage people, a new way of life out of California. They have created a beautiful transitional housing program to talk about what that looks like, why they try to heal and find ways to, one, get better employment, something more than $12 an hour, right? And once you build it up, we talked about, you know, what does that look like? From National Expungement Week point of view, we think everything should be a 3 to 5 year business plan. Treat everything like a 3 to 5 year business plan. Even when you get out, have a 3 to 5 year plan to reduce your own recidivism. And how can we help you do that? You know, employment, it goes back to that, because if we can help you with employment, to us, until we do automated expungement, you know, an automatic expungement to us, we call that, you know, that's a workaround. We have a lot of things where we come from our community, from my hood. We have a lot of we got a lot of workarounds, right? Because we know right now certain things aren't attainable when it comes to sending expungement for records, right? So we have to create ways for ourselves, like we've been doing for years and years and years and years and years and years, to make sure that we never go back. And we want to do it the right way, and we want to honor that. So we always say, listen, if there's someone who is, 50 and up, and we know that they have to get this process started, we make sure that we try to work with them first. Because listen, nobody wants to die on their cousin's couch. Nobody wants to be attacked by children all day, have a dog or a cat on you. Like, you want your own space. Like, come on, I've been in jail. Can I have my own space when I get out? What does that really look like? That should be obtainable. So yeah, I'll shut up and let somebody else talk about it now.
Thank you so much, Torie. The barriers to people coming home is just so vast and so huge. And we are doing a lot of really great things here in Washington. We are going to have a new reentry community center in Seattle starting next year. Civil Survival Project is developing a reentry legal aid project. Our hotline will be going live in January, so we can help the individuals who need help navigating these barriers. I'm going to close here in a minute. I want to respect everyone's time, especially our friends here on the East Coast. I want to say thank you so much for everyone who joined, everyone who's watching from home and who's joined the webinar and watching Facebook Live. I do want to flag one last question that Chanel brought up. Is there any thoughts on bringing class action lawsuits in Washington for those debilitated by criminal convictions on the basis of not being denied housing and jobs, housing and jobs? And I want to say, that is something our new reentry legal aid project will be looking at. In addition, I think we know some brilliant attorneys that we might be able to pick their brain, like Representative Hanson, who is a brilliant attorney who probably has interest, if not connections, to something like that. But anyway, it is something that we will be looking at as we serve individuals and get those stories. And hopefully we will have opportunity to engage in appellate litigation of some sort to reform, not only legislatively, but through the judicial branch as well. I just want to, again, thank the guests for coming tonight, and tell our guests, our participants, that this is just day one of a 5-day series. Tomorrow, Sarai Cook hopefully will be back with us, and we'll be able to share information. If you're having problems navigating your own legal financial obligations, tomorrow is for you. Tomorrow we'll be answering questions around how do you waive the interest or remit your LFOs across the state. So tomorrow is a webinar designed just for that. On Wednesday, we will be tackling vacating misdemeanor convictions in Washington State. So putting the New Hope Act to use through a webinar where we're going to share with you how you navigate that process with our own staff attorney, Jacob Kuykendall, who is a new addition to our team here at Civil Survival. On Thursday, he will be going over how do you vacate a felony conviction. And then on Friday, we will be joined by Senator Joe Wen, who led an effort around vacating marijuana convictions. We'll be talking about the racial disproportionality of marijuana convictions and what we can do to continue to resist against the war on drugs and heal its aftermath. And so we will be joined also by 2 individuals in Washington State who have marijuana convictions and they're going to share their stories about the collateral consequences again, and what we can continue to do to uplift and make reparations for the war on drugs, and particularly criminalizing people convicted of marijuana. So thank you again so much for joining us. If you want to connect with us, please feel free to reach out on Civil Survival. We have a contact page, civilsurvival.org. And please join me in giving a round of applause. Let me see this virtual world for our participants here. If you all can clap your hands for them. My computer doesn't have it. I'll do the real stuff. But thank you all again so much for joining us, everybody watching and our panelists. And we look forward to continuing this work for as long as it takes. Thank you all. Good night.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
East
you.
Coast guests. Thanks for joining us so late.
Yes.
Bye, y'all.